Hey folks, welcome back. Today we are going to learn an all-time piano classic, Billy Joel's Piano Man. Now, this is a great track. The chords in it are not too simple, but if you're watching this and you know the song, you will know that it is an absolute monster of a song. There are like 8 verses, I think, and there's kind of interludes and half interludes and a lot of extra kind of stuff going on. So I'm going to level with you straight up here. If you want to play this exactly like Billy Joel plays it on the record, this is going to take a long time, and it is not what we are here for, okay? What we are here for is we are going to learn how to play it so that we can play all the chords, we can play all the sections, and we can sing along on our own with our friends. And trust me, you play this the way I'm going to play it right now, at the end, no one is ever going to say to you, that wasn't Piano Man, believe me. Now, as usual, we are going to deal with the chords and some structure, and then at the end, I'm going to give you some piano jazz, including a little bit of tips for that piano solo. So let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to make a change today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a little bit of jazz for the intro. We start with some fun, right? So before we get into keys, chords, anything, here's how we're going to play that introduction. You're going to find a D. And then you're just going to take evenly spaced notes. D, skip E, play F, skip G, play A, skip B, play C. Yeah? That's your first left-hand chord. It's a D minor 7 chord. There's your D minor. And remembering our trick for finding the 7 is we take our root note, which is a D, so let's say here, and we drop it down 2 half steps, D minor 7. But look at that picture, right? Spaced out evenly. And let's do the second left-hand chord. The second left-hand chord is a D diminished chord. What that means is not really relevant to us right now. What we want to do, though, to make it is keep these first 2 notes the same. And these 2, we're just going to kind of, this is where the diminish comes from. We're going to diminish them. We're going to shrink them down to the left, both by a half step. That gives you a second. So hopefully this, followed by this, is already starting to sound quite familiar. Now with your right hand, let's separate this into a few little sections. First thing, kind of the easy one. See that chord? A, C, E, G. Evenly spaced. Same as this one. Yeah. Now we're not going to play it as a chord. We're going to go. Okay. Now all we've done there is go up the chord. And then when we play every single available note, this is called playing chromatically. Okay. So you're going to get up to the G and then chromatically down to the C. Yeah. You want to make it sound exactly right. We're going to play the G sharp first. So it's almost like almost like you've accidentally hit it. Yeah. We put that with our chord. There's your first bit of the intro. Now when we get to here, I'm going to think about this in 2 sections. Okay. First one, B flat, B and C. So that's twice around them all. And then just the B flat to B. And the last bit is A, G, E, G. Yeah, so. And again, the finishing touch is these 2 come with little appoggiatura, grace notes. Again, it's like an accident. Okay, so that second section of our little triplet section. Okay, let's put those together. Big, wide, spread out chords. There it is, that little jazzy introduction. Okay. So, since we're doing the intro, let's finish it off. We're going to talk a little bit here about playing by ear, which is basically where we kind of guess based on what we know the shape of the melody that we're trying to get is in this instance, okay? So I want you to think about, ba, there's your first note, ba, 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 ba. We can think, up, down, 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 up, down, okay? And this gets more difficult the further the notes are apart, but these ones move by what we call step, which means they are just adjacent notes. So I'm going to tell you your first note is G. Up, down, 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 up, down. Yeah? And then the second section starts on C. Up, up, down. And then we've got same again, down, down, up, down. Back to C. And this time, okay, that's the only bit we really need to remember, because we've got that little down, down, and then a skip at the end, right at the end. Okay. I've ever so slightly simplified that, but believe me, once we add this next bit, it's going to work. All you're going to do is, to your melody that you've now kind of memorized, is you're going to add a note, a skip down. I always think of that like kind of like tracks, right? Always we've got a missed note, a skip note in the middle, right? So now it goes down to C. Yeah. And all we'll do, we're not going to play the tracks for the end, for reasons that will become clear. Now that sounds like Piano Man. Okay, so now that we've had a little bit of fun with the intros, let's talk shop. Piano Man is in the key of C. This is all the white notes. Okay, easy peasy. We're going to deviate from them a little bit, but if you listen out to how those deviations sound, it'll actually help you remember where they are. Okay, now our verse and our chorus, helpfully, are actually exactly the same chord sequence, and it goes like this. We're going to start with a C chord in root position. C, E, G, evenly spaced. Skip one, play one. Skip one, play one. Right. Now our second chord is going to be a G. That is G, B, D. Again, there it is in its root position with the G at the bottom. We're just going to flip that or invert it and put the G on the top. And this makes this a really easy move. Your pinky stays on the G and your other two fingers expand away. There we go, so C, G. Our next two chords, F, which we can find by just stepping everything down to the next note. We've got F, A, C. Our G was inverted, so we'll make our F inverted as well. C, G, F, and finishing with a C. Now we're going to use it in a different position because if you see, look, our middle finger, our middle note in this chord is C. And often when we're trying to find the right inversion, if we've got a note we're going to keep and it's, say, in the middle of the chord, it's good to keep it in the middle of the chord. And that means when we do our C, we'll get C, E, and G. And that means a pivot move around that middle finger, okay, or middle note. Now, let's put those first four together. So we've got C, stretch down to G, step to F, pivot to C. Okay. Now our next four chords are going to be F and C again. Done. And then we're going to finish with a D, which we're going to find by stepping up because we're on C. But we want, now if we stepped up, we'd find ourselves on D minor because that is what the D version of the chord in the key of C. And what we want to do to change D minor to major, the same as with any minor chord, we think about the chord in its root position, D at the bottom, D, F, A, and we raise, see how it sounds sad at the moment? We raise that to an F sharp. Now if we take that back into our inversion that we were using here, it's that little bit of a brighter change. D. And our last chord is going to be G. Same position that we used it on chord number 2, except now we're coming from D, and look, there's that D in the middle. We're going to use the kind of the opposite version of that pivot move that we used before. Okay. Let me put those 8 chords in a row. C, stretch down to G, step down to F, and pivot to C. Pivot back to F, pivot back to C. Step up to D major, pivot to G. And those are our 8 chords. Now, our left hand. We're going to meet in this piece an awful lot of what are known as slash chords, which means that the bass note, the note you're playing with your left hand, is not the same as the root note of the chord. So for instance, our first chord, C. That one comes with a C. Now our second chord, G, comes with a B, which isn't the root note of the chord. And so in order for us to remember that, or in order for us to know that, it needs to be represented on the music. And we do that with a slash, G slash B. Or occasionally you might see it in parentheses. Okay, but G slash B, G over B, I always think of it, because it's a G over a B. Now on your music, you're going to see a lot of those, but actually, I'm going to teach you the cheat way to play this left hand. All you're going to do is walk down. Okay. I don't know if you saw there, but after the third note, rather than using my remaining 2 fingers, I put my thumb underneath. And that is the official classical way of playing that scale, which I would never ever dream of asking you to do unless it was the best way of executing that move. Okay, let's put it with those chords. I haven't done it. Yeah. And then all we do the second time. Now we actually don't really need to do it the second time because F slash G. C. That's your ever so slightly different ending. So second time, F, stay on F, and rotate to C. Okay, try that out. Okie dokie, so we have got this little interlude that happens at various points. You'll see the structure in a minute. Happens before verses mainly. And it is this little kind of... that bit is where we're heading, okay? Now your kind of go-to shape here, it's going to be based around a C chord and then expanding upwards to make F, F-A-C, and then expanding upwards again to making either a G over B or a C major 7-ish, but it doesn't really matter what it's called, you just got to look at that shape, and then back to F. So think about it as being like... sounding right, and we are going to play that. Actually, to make it sound right, we can do this all 4 fingers. So remember, when we want 4 notes in a right hand chord and it's not a 7 chord or anything like that, what we do is we take whatever note our thumb is on and then we double it with our pinky. So that gives us 4 notes, which enables us to go. Really clever, we can walk it back down using those train tracks from earlier. Yeah. So for instance, if you've just come out of your introduction, Either once like that or twice, which we'll call the full interlude. Okie dokie, let's talk about our pre-chorus. This is the section which leads us into the chorus. Obviously, it's the that section, okay? Now, when we get to this, we are going to have come from sing that in tune. Yeah? And then we're going to go to an A minor chord. Now, the second chord we want, so A minor, A, C, E. And then we're going to go to an A minor chord with a G, so A minor / G. Simple change there. Now we're going to go to a D, so from here, and expand, keep the A to give ourselves that D chord from earlier. And then to F, which again we can keep this A to bring the F that we've been using all the way through. Then you're going to repeat that again. Stop on the F sharp to G, and then going into our chorus we've got this lovely walk down all the notes of that C major scale, etc. Okay, so them is the chords. Let's talk about, this has got a really kind of like lyrical feel to it, okay? And I think it's nice. Yeah, let's do that. 1, 2. So remember what I just said a minute ago about doubling your thumb note with your pinky. Now we were doing that on a C chord. It's 2 C's. No problem. But remember, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which inversion you are in, because whatever you've got your thumb on, whether it's the A in A minor, or the A out of a D chord, or the A out of an F chord, it's still in the chord, right? So we can just play it twice. So we're going to go. Same, and then D, F, A minor / G. Do this twice. And then here you could carry this on. Try it both different ways and see what happens. So let me play that whole pre-chorus for you one more time. We've gone. Etc. Okie dokie, so that is all of the sections of Piano Man. This is the point where I usually say the structure is very simple, but believe me, in Piano Man, it is not. It is an absolute monster of a piece. I'm not going to talk you through this right now. I'm going to tell you that if you want to play Piano Man, you need to know it, and you need to know which bits are coming next. You take a look at the structure to refresh your memory, but really, if you know the song well enough, this should come quite naturally when you're playing it. So listen, 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 and copy, copy, copy. The only thing I'm going to tell you about right now is what happens when we get to the end. We are going to be playing right at the very end this. What are we going to do? Finish it nicely after this lovely walk down. Okay, two little bits of extra jazz that I want to talk to you about. The first one, this is a lovely little bit of like piano tinkering. You hear it a lot, and once you know how to do it, once you spot it, you can just drop it in everywhere because it's always the same technique. And it's when we get to, for instance, isn't that lovely? And all that is, it's to do with a chord that is in root position. So let's take our first one, which is D. We're gonna have to move it from where we were playing it in a simple version, but now we're advancing. So we're going to take that D here in root position. And all you're going to do, when you go to hit that, you're going to hit that first. You imagine you're going for this, and you've had an accident, you've hit that one. Right? And then your thumb is going to come in and save the day. And then same for this one. Of course, when you go to G, you're aiming for the B and the D with the thumbs waiting behind, and your accidental note is the A. Okay, so together. Okay, you can slide that in wherever you want. Now, the second bit, this is the piano solo. Now, the piano solo happens over these chords. Does this bit twice, and then goes on to here. Okay, now I'm not going to teach you the exact piano solo from this piece. What I am going to teach you is the blues scale in A minor, and it goes like this. Let's start with the white notes: A, C, D, E, and G. So if we look at that shape. We're skipping one, playing three, skipping one, and playing another. Now, if we do the full octave, we put the A in as well. Yeah, but this pattern is quite a good one to remember. And we need to add to that, to make it the blues scale, we need to add E flat. So we end up with, and the blues scale is great because you can go up and down, and you can just keep on cycling it round. And that is what we're going to do to emulate, if not copy exactly, the solo in the middle of this piece. So imagine your left hand is going to be playing these bass notes. And all I want you to do is try and go up. Okay, you can go up and down, and in any kind of rhythm you want. You could pause. Okay, start by going up and down, and then start to use your creativity just before you end up, kind of getting closer and closer to the actual patterns that Billy uses on the record. There you go, there's your first piano solo. Have a crack at that.